represent an unforgettable moment in the hearts of every Vietnamese person. Every piece of land, every house was mercilessly ravaged by those giant bombs. And the plane dropping them is the B-52 Super Bomber. A name already all too familiar to generations of Vietnamese people. But you may not know this, but the B-52 is not a conventional bomber. It is actually a heavy jet bomber manufactured by Boeing at the request of the Pentagon to perform nuclear bombing missions in any war on a global scale. To this day, despite being 67 years old since its first flight in 1955, B-52 still plays a leading role in the strategic bomber fleet of the United States Air Force. The main strength of this aircraft lies in its ability to carry over 30 tons of various weapons, travel a distance of 14,000 km, and reach speeds of up to 10,000 km/h to attack targets. The reason the B-52 can carry such a huge amount of weaponry and has such a long range is because its wingspan of up to 56.4 m is fitted with 8 Pratt & Amp Whitney jet engines providing up to 17,000 lbf of thrust. In addition, to accommodate its large arsenal of weapons, the B-52 also boasts enormous dimensions, comparable to a true fortress with a length of 48.5 m, a height of 12.4 m, and an empty weight of over 80 tons. You may not know this, but although it was designed to carry nuclear bombs, the Americans never deployed this weapon on the B-52 in combat missions or to deter potential adversaries. According to many sources, even the most advanced B-52H version of the U.S. bomber will no longer carry nuclear bombs in the future, but if necessary, these super fortress bombers can still use 20 AGM-86B cruise missiles, each carrying a nuclear warhead with a yield of 550 kilotons, 10 times greater than the Little Boy atomic bomb dropped on Japan in 1945. Notably, after modifications in 2016, the B-52 and Fi-39's ability to carry additional conventional weapons has been significantly increased. Accordingly, the aircraft will be capable of carrying up to 20 AGM-158 JSM subsonic missiles with a range of up to 1,000 km. According to many experts, by using only hypersonic attack missiles, the B-52 is still fully capable of providing the Americans with a significant deterrent effect against potential adversaries until the 2040s. Therefore, even in the event of a full-scale nuclear war, these aging B-52s would still be able to carry hypersonic missiles to the very edge of enemy air defense systems and then fire, delivering a preemptive nuclear strike on enemy territory. This may also explain why the world NK-39's most powerful air force plans to keep the B-52s operational until 2050. Despite the Americans' and F-39 ongoing B-52 modernization programs, it is clear that, with an age even older than the parents of the pilots who fly them, this aging war machine is no longer able to fulfill its role as the most powerful bomber. This fulfills the demand to showcase the absolute power of the world and P-39's most powerful superpower. That task should be left to the B-2 Spirit strategic bombers developed by Northrop Grumman. Considered the world and P-39's largest stealth aircraft, the B-2 Spirit strategic bomber was developed in 1989 to penetrate the dense air defenses of the Soviet Union, which previous generations of fighter aircraft could never overcome. But unlike the B-52, which requires 5 pilots, the B-2 Spirit and F-39's crew consists of only 2 people, a pilot on the left and a commander on the right. However, having been created during the final days of the Cold War, the B-2 Spirit never had the opportunity to be tested in real combat against formidable opponents like the B-52. However, compared to strategic bombers from Russia and China, the B-2 Spirit is still considered a highly effective and well-regarded aircraft in terms of combat deployment. Overall, the bomber was also significantly smaller than the B-52 or any other bomber, measuring 22.1 mm in length and only 5.1 mm in height. Accordingly, the aircraft also has a maximum takeoff weight of 152.6 tons, making it the lightest aircraft on this list. But the most notable feature of this super bomber is its wingspan of 52.12 meters, tapering outwards with small grooves positioned at a 45-degree angle. Therefore, the bomber from the United States also boasts a very impressive appearance, much like an alien spaceship from science fiction movies. According to some experts, this is considered the most aerodynamically optimal shape, allowing the aircraft to most effectively utilize its 4 general electric F188 GE100 engines with a total power of 308 kN and thrust of up to 77 kN. Thanks to this, the American monster can fly at a maximum speed of 1010 km/h at an altitude of 15,000 meters to penetrate deep into Soviet rear, overcoming dense air defense systems. And with a flight range of up to 11,000 kilometers, the B-2 Spirit also possessed a significant radar scattering capability, making the entire massive aircraft appear as small as a bird on the screens of the tracking radars. Furthermore, the American monster is equipped with the special APQ-181 radar, which is very useful for navigation and scanning ground targets. In addition, it can also map the positions of enemy fighter jets and radars, helping pilots quickly identify the battlefield situation. Ironically, the very principles behind the B-2 Spirit and F-39's stealth capabilities were first formulated by a Russian physicist named Pyotr Yefimtsev in a 1962 book that the Soviet Union considered to have no national security value. However, incorporating the world and F-39's most advanced technologies does not mean the aircraft can operate smoothly in all situations and will never encounter any problems. And as a precaution against the worst case scenario, when the B-2 might be detected on enemy radar screens, the B-2 Spirit also incorporates a warning system to allow the crew to detect early signs of the aircraft, creating trails of vapor formed by ice crystals condensing around the aircraft and F-39's exhaust gases. Furthermore, to ensure the aircraft and F-39's stealth capabilities are not wasted, this bomber also impresses with its weapons bay capable of carrying 16 tons of weapons, including 80 Mk82 or GBU-30 bombs weighing 225 kg each, or 16 Mk4 GB-31 bombs weighing 925 kg each, and 16 B-61 tactical nuclear bombs. But the funny thing is, despite having the capability to completely destroy medium-sized countries like Japan and North Korea and inflict irreparable damage on important provinces of China, the B-2 Spirit super bomber is very afraid of rain showers and This is because the outer shell of this type of aircraft is extremely sensitive to water penetration. If this continues for an extended period, the aircraft and V-39's electronic systems will become less accurate and extremely unstable. Therefore, to conduct long-term deterrence operations, especially in areas with unstable weather, the Americans would often prioritize using the B-1B Lancer strategic bomber rather than having to painstakingly service the difficult-to-manage B-2 Spirit. As the successor to the famous B-50E-2 bomber, the B-1B Lancer possesses stealth capabilities while still being able to carry up to 34 tons of bombs inside its bomb bays. Additionally, the external pylons allow the aircraft to carry up to 23 tons of weapons, bringing the total weapons payload. This bomber can carry to a level equivalent to that of both the B-52 and B-2 Spirit combined. In addition, this American cavalryman can also carry all types of bombs, including strategic and tactical nuclear bombs, including GBU-31s, JM BIMS bombs, 24 Mk-84 multi-purpose bombs, 84 Mk-82 bombs, 84 Mk-60 landmines, 30 CBI-79 cluster munitions, BU-1 on the earth and CBI, 1R N-Tharder 4 Honor 5, 24 AGM-150 JS and surface-to-air missiles. The reason the B-1B Lancer has such a large weapons payload is because this type of aircraft is designed with variable sweep wings, which significantly improves its ability to carry weapons and fuel. But it in F-39 is also impossible to ignore the enormous size of this aircraft, with a length of 44.5 m, a height of 10.4 m, and a wingspan of 24 m when folded and 42 m when extended. Despite its large size, this knight is also extremely agile, capable of flying at a speed of 1,335 km at an altitude of over 15,000 m with a range of 12,000 km. Although it does in an F-39T possess the superior stealth capabilities of the B-2 Spirit, the B-1B Lancer still has similar stealth capabilities to first-generation stealth aircraft. Accordingly, the B-1B is coated with an expensive paint that helps reduce its radar cross-section. Additionally, it is equipped with flares to distract enemy missiles. Thanks to its comprehensive capabilities, the B-1B Lancer is also continuously deployed by the Americans to conflict hotspots to deter potential adversaries. We can see them most frequently in joint military exercises between the United States and South Korea. Furthermore, it is not uncommon to see these aircraft participating in missions aimed at demonstrating military strength and challenging China in F-39's unreasonable territorial claims in the South China Sea. With these three strategic bombers, the Americans can be completely confident in their position as the world and F-39's leading airstrike force. But on the other side of the ocean, the Russians, the only nation with the military technology to rival the US, also possess their own strategic bombers, whose capabilities are in no way inferior to those of their American counterparts. And among them, we cannot fail to mention the rival of the B-52 Flying Fortress, the Tu-95, which the Americans have given the rather endearing nickname Quat, prehistoric monster Quat, developed and fully produced by the Soviet Union from the 1950s. The Tu-95 was born with features almost identical to the American B-52. However, unlike the B-52, the Tu-95 does not use jet engines, but rather four Kuznetsov NK-12 turbofan engines with a power of 11,000 kW, equivalent to 14,795 horsepower each, allowing the fighter to fly at a maximum speed of 925 km with a range of 15,000 km. ceiling of 12 kilometers and carry 15 tons of weapons in its fuselage and on its wings. After numerous improvements and upgrades, the latest version of the Tu-95, the Tu-95MS, has also been integrated with the capability to launch Kaish-101 cruise missiles with an attack range of over 5,000 km, not far behind the American B-52H. Therefore, the appearance of Tu-95s on flights along the Russian border has truly caused concern in the West. Indeed, although not a stealth aircraft and vulnerable to modern weapons, such as anti-aircraft missiles and cruise missiles, the Tu-95 is still very suitable for transporting heavy cruise missiles and closely monitoring the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, areas wherein stealth capabilities of the aircraft are not necessarily the solution. Furthermore, during the special military operation, as the Russians called it, Moscow also deployed Tu-95s to combat and inflict damage on Ukrainian infrastructure, despite the fierce resistance of the Ukrainian army. But in reality, the Tu-95, including the improved Tu-95MS version, has begun to show signs of obsolescence and is certainly not the most powerful bomber in Russia and F-39's arsenal. That title certainly belongs to the Tu-160, the world and F-39's most powerful supersonic bomber, at least until this video was posted. Like the Tu-95, the Tu-160 is a bomber aircraft developed by Tupolev. As the world and F-39's largest strategic bomber, the Tu-160 has a length of up to a height of 5.4 m, a height of 13 m, and an empty weight of up to 110 zazentag. But the Tu-160 isn't a 39 just a big, bulky and aircraft. It can also fly at a top speed of up to 200 km far, exceeding even the American F-35 fighter jets, which can only fly at speeds up to 1960 km. In addition, the Tu-160 also has a range of up to 14,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, Russia occupies the majority of the Arctic territory, and the distance from Moscow to Washington via the Arctic is only 750 kilometers. This also means that in the event of a large-scale nuclear war, Russian Tu-160s could carry 40 tons of bombs and cruise missiles in their fuselages, launching an attack on the United States in just over 3 hours. Furthermore, the Tu-160 is equipped with a separate SOPK attack radar and ground tracking radar, giving it a fully automated terrain following flight mode at low altitudes. An electro-optical bomber targeting system reduces the burden on escort fighters, while allowing the aircraft to attack targets with extremely high accuracy. One of the features considered to be advantages of American fighter jets is their much higher flight ceiling compared to the 16,000 of the Tu-160. But that wouldn't F-39T be a problem for this aircraft, as the Russians can equip it with the Kh-55 missile, which has a range of over 500 km. In fact, despite being touted as aircraft designed for nuclear bombing raids. However, since World War II, these strategic bombers have only been used to bombard targets with conventional bombs and have rarely achieved commensurate results. Furthermore, with the rapid emergence and development of long-range and medium-range ballistic missiles, many argue that strategic bombers have become obsolete, unnecessary, and primarily symbolic. So, what are your views on this issue? Let us know in the comments below so everyone can discuss. And now, on behalf of the team, Viet Quang would like to say goodbye and see you again!